What's up, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls and Detroit Pistons game reaction when finally the Chicago Bulls picked up a huge victory in a must-win game in all dire circumstances. And to be honest, I wasn't fully convinced we'd walk out with the win against Detroit, especially in that third quarter and throughout the whole game, really. But the fourth quarter performance from the Chicago Bulls was close to perfect as it could possibly get, as we walked away breaking our 5-game losing streak and beating a team that is in a must-win situation like the Chicago Bulls are. We have to beat the teams like Detroit, no matter how great they're playing at the moment. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bull Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today. Who was your player of the game and your overall thoughts and opinions on how the Chicago Bulls played. We won this game 114-108. And the questions are going to be asked throughout the whole course of, this game. After the game, many people will begin to ask these questions. Did the Chicago Bulls play well? Not always. Did the Chicago Bulls deserve to win? Many people might say probably not, depending on what side of the coin you're on, but I obviously think the Chicago Bulls deserve to win today. And is this the performance that will beat other teams, let's say, beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, beat the Phoenix that we have coming up soon, beat Utah that's coming up soon? Definitely not. This game is a very close competitive game, but this is a team that we should be beating. This performance will not do against other teams. But we don't have to worry about that right now, because all I can truly feel at the moment is just being thankful that we've walked away with the win that we're supposed to have. We're supposed to beat the teams like Detroit. If we can't beat the teams like Philadelphia, teams like Milwaukee at the moment with the team that we have, you need to rely on these games like Detroit, the games like Atlanta that we lost to, games like this where the records are low, their confidence are probably low, or either they're just simply not good enough to, with their team that they have, to match the Chicago Bulls. You have to take advantage of these games. So yes, I'm very happy right now with the Chicago Bulls. I feel a sense of relief. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I feel like this team has done something that I haven't seen in over a week, and that's win a game of basketball. So a week is a long time, ladies and gentlemen. That's 5 games, a little bit over a week, 5 games of Bulls basketball, all of them in which we're excited to watch. And it's finally about time that we've won a game of basketball. Let's talk about the positives and the negatives. First things first, forget the first quarter, forget the second quarter, forget the third quarter. Fourth quarter Chicago Bulls is what I want to see out of this team every single quarter of basketball that we play going forward. That defensive intensity was through the roof in that fourth quarter. We attacked the basket like crazy, and we got the foul calls that a lot of us have been waiting for the Chicago Bulls to get. And speaking on the foul calls, ladies and gentlemen, our free throws were much higher than the Detroit Pistons, and I'm sure Detroit Pistons fans will know what it feels like. We know what it feels like. So I feel sorry for Detroit Pistons fans for having to see some of those unfortunate whistles, those late whistles, those fouls that you could potentially argue wasn't a foul. We know exactly what that feels like. So I understand if Detroit Pistons fans are watching this video. I understand that pain and that frustration and that, kind of like bias in many ways. I'm not saying that the Chicago Bulls didn't deserve those free throws. I guess you could say with these referee calls and these free throw percentages, as Stacey King said in his analysis of it, they're eventually going to start evening it out. They didn't give us any foul calls against Philadelphia. They didn't give us any foul calls against Milwaukee. Actually, to be fair, they did give us foul calls against Philadelphia in the second half. But Miami and Milwaukee, no foul calls whatsoever. Our guys couldn't get to the line to save their lives. If their life depended on it, they would not be at the free throw line. But a game against Detroit, where they're a younger team and an inexperienced team, the referees were very much in favor of the Chicago Bulls, and we got those foul calls for being a veteran-savvy team compared to a very young and competitive team like Detroit. I have to give full credit to Detroit. They played some great basketball today. They gave us one hell of a fight. And in the end, I was very worried in that third quarter that we were going to walk away with a loss. And if we walked away with the loss, I was going to react in a way that I haven't seen myself react in over a year with that San Antonio Spurs game last season. I reacted very, very, very harshly towards the Chicago Bulls in that game. And I felt exact same way in this game against Detroit. But we walked away with the win, and all I could do is be thankful about that. I thought, again, the free throws, attacking the basket, the fourth quarter was truly a phenomenal sight to watch for the Chicago Bulls. And it makes me feel like if they have that in them every single night, that's what we need to see every single night. That's an example of what Chicago Bulls basketball should be without Alex Caruso, without Lonzo Ball, without Patrick Williams. There's clearly an element of defensive pressure. When the Bulls are locked in defensively, that's their level. That's what they can be. Of course, Detroit might not be the best opposition to see. Maybe other teams will exploit us a lot more than what Detroit did, but nevertheless, the intensity and the intent and the pressure was there from the Chicago Bulls. Our active hands was really impressive in that fourth quarter of basketball. And we only saw it for one quarter, which is very frustrating. But that one fourth quarter it was enough to take us to a win. So that's what I want to see every single time down the court, going against the Cavs, the Kings, and any other team we decide to face in the future. Every single game, I want that defensive intensity from the Chicago Bulls. The first quarter, completely up and down quarter. We went from getting a lot of steals in that quarter to simply just giving up wide open cuts. I thought defensively outside of the fourth quarter, there was still so much work that needs to be done. The high pick and roll caused us a lot of trouble. Once again, drop coverage began to be a big issue. We ended up switching on positions that we didn't need to be switched. Kelly Olynyk got a lot of easy post hooks because we switched from point guard to center. These things are really big problems for the Chicago Bulls, and I still see them as big problems in today's game. But looking at some of the positives, I thought we really took advantage of matchups in today's game. When DeMar DeRozan ended up getting mid-ranges, it was because of switches on matchups that the Bulls probably knew that those Detroit players couldn't guard guys like DeMar DeRozan. How many post hooks did Nikola Vucevic have in the paint today? All of that was taking advantage of his matchups with versus the Detroit Pistons side with their starting center not available to play. So Nikola Vucevic took advantage of that and got so many easy post hooks in the paint. Zach LaVine had a lot of guards today that simply couldn't guard him. If anybody got fouled today, it was Zach LaVine, ladies and gentlemen. He was the one that truly cut to the basket, and almost every single time he went to the lane, he got fouled because no one on that Detroit Pistons team could guard him one-on-one straight up. So those are the real positives out of this game. I thought we really did our matchups well. I thought we took advantage of those mismatches, and that's how we won this game today, with the big three playing well and all of them taking advantage of those mismatches that they had. So that's a really positive thing for the Chicago Bulls. For the first time in a while, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into the individual performances, starting off with DeMar DeRozan that had 36 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists with 2 steals, 48% from the field. So that is not great from DeMar DeRozan, but where he made his bread and butter today, he had 13 free throws and he made 12. So that's fantastic from DeMar DeRozan getting to the line. There were a couple of foul calls that I thought were questionable. I'm going to be flat out and honest. That late whistle on DeMar DeRozan from Cade Cunningham, I honestly think that is something that I don't like seeing. I don't like seeing whistles being put out so late. At the end of the day, it's either you call it or you don't call it. If you're calling it so late to the point where the Pistons are already down on the other side of the court, ready to take their own shot, that's not good enough. The refs have to be better. Again, a lot of the consistency, people say there's no consistency in the referees. That's a perfect example of what they're saying. There needs to be an element of consistency. You either call the foul or you don't call the foul. Simple as that. Can't go and changing your mind when the Pistons have the ball in their possession and they're ready to go towards half court. That's something that needs to be changed. I don't like seeing late whistles. I think they should be got rid of from the game entirely. But DeMar DeRozan was great from the free throw line. Again, I really thought we needed to go away from him a little bit. At the end of the day, he took 25 shots. And I think the second most shots on this team was Zach LaVine right after him with 14. 25 shots from DeMar DeRozan when he's not feeling it the way that he is. That's something I don't like. I think we need to go to Zach LaVine a little bit more, go to Vucevic a little bit more, who had both fantastic efficiency nights outside of LaVine's three-point shooting. That was awful. But outside of that, he had 50% from the field, Zach LaVine. Vucevic had 70% from the field. Let's go to them a little bit more. DeMar DeRozan's not feeling it as much. Yeah, stuff like that, you know what I mean. It's only 48% for DeMar. Obviously, Zach LaVine had 50%. It's not that big of a difference. But I did feel like we could have went to them a little bit more, because he had 48% but 25 shots compared to what Zach LaVine had. So that's something that's been a problem for a long time. Even when Zach LaVine is feeling it or Vucevic is feeling it, we still end up resulting in us going to DeMar DeRozan. So that's probably an issue that I think the Chicago Bulls need to change going forward. Zach LaVine at 25, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. His assist to Tristan Thompson was truly unbelievable. That was the only assist for Zach LaVine in this game. I think that has to improve with the amount of time he has the ball in his hands. But 50% from the field, 7 from 14 in total, 1 from 7 from the three-point line. Common theme for the Chicago Bulls and a big part of our weakness. Bench scoring, I think, was okay in today's game, but three-point scoring was awful. We made 3 threes in this game in its entirety. That's almost like the D-Wade, Rondo, and Butler era, where even then we're making more threes than 3 threes. That's awful three-point shooting from the Chicago Bulls. But again, it's one of those situations where we ended up making up for it from the free throw line and from the foul calls that Detroit were giving us. And that's something that we have to be thankful of again. But also, we got to improve from the three-point line. When Caruso and Patrick Williams and Lonzo Ball comes back, we're getting a 40% shooter from the free in Lonzo Ball. Hopefully Zach LaVine can get better from the three-point line, because his shot selection from 3 is the big reason why he's not making them. He's a 40% shooter, but he's not even taking wide open threes. It's always contested with Zach LaVine. So we need to see better shot selection from 3 from Zach LaVine. But it was a good day for Zach, and I thought he had a great game. I loved when he attacked the basket, and I love to see him continue to do that. That's when Zach LaVine, in my opinion, is at his best, when he's cutting to the basket, getting those foul calls, 11 free throws for Zach LaVine today, and just being a nuisance in the paint. That's where Zach LaVine is at his best, and in my opinion, it's where he always has been at his best. His three-point shooting is fantastic when he's efficient, but when Zach LaVine's attacking the basket, I don't think anybody can stop him. Simple as that. Ayo Dosunmu had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists with 3 steals in this game. Ayo Dosunmu was a really strong performer in this game, and once again, the assists for Ayo Dosunmu, some of the assists that he got today, it's awe-inspiring. Some of the no-look passes, some of the pocket passes that he got to Vucevic. It's a great point guard performance from Ayo Dosunmu, and I loved every single bit of Ayo at point guard. Even today against Cade Cunningham defensively, I thought he gave it his all defensively. He was one of the only guys I can't question the defensive effort and energy. Cade Cunningham is an amazing player. If you're a Detroit Pistons fan, hold on to Cade Cunningham with all your might. Do not let him go. You must build around him. That's how talented he is. But with Ayo Dosunmu, he gave everything, and you're not always going to stop the best players. Cade Cunningham is, in my opinion, by far the Detroit Pistons' best player at the moment, and it shows in the stats. So Ayo, you don't always stop the best guys, but you slow them down as much as you possibly can. You make their job a lot more difficult, and that is where Ayo Dosunmu thrived in this game today, and his efficient scoring has once again reigned through with 66% from the field. Nikola Vucevic, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. In the fourth quarter, his defense was immense towards the Chicago Bulls, but of course, the defensive issues still lie with Vucevic, but thankfully in the fourth quarter, he stepped up big time. I liked that he took advantages of his mismatches. Again, Vucevic had 6 from 6, I believe, before he missed his first shot, and all 6 of those points came from the paint. There's a big success when Vucevic is in the paint, scoring post hooks, pick and rolls, offensive rebounds, and putting the ball in the basket from there. It's easy basketball, and that seems to be Vucevic's bread and butter. That's where his success comes from. He only took 1 3 in today's game, and that was probably by far his best game since he's returned to the Chicago Bulls after the All-Star break. I think rebounding-wise, 6 rebounds is not enough, but that's one game. I know he's a consistent rebounder, and one game's not going to change my mind from that. He had a big game in my opinion, and he deserves a lot of praise for this game. But the question is, can he do that on a consistent basis? Can he be that paint beast on a consistent basis? That question has yet to be answered throughout the consistency part of it. But we know when Vucevic is in the paint, success will come with it. So let's see if that can continue to happen for Nikola Vucevic. Javonte Green had 4 points and 3 steals. I don't have too much to say about Javonte Green. I liked his effort defensively again with 3 steals, putting his hands in the cookie jar, and this time he got away with some of them. Cade Cunningham as well, he got a nice steal over there. Really good game from Javonte Green defensively. We went small ball today, and I thought that was the right decision. Again, we don't always need to see Vucevic and Tristan Thompson start. The Pistons clearly went small ball as well today. They didn't really have much of a choice besides going small ball, but the Bulls matched them playing small ball, and we often will prefer to play small ball over big ball. So there are certain matchups where big ball will work, and there are other matchups where they simply will not work. So that is something that we need to find that balance between the two, and I hope we can get it right. Kobe White, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. I'm going to tell you this right now. Kobe White is by far my must improve, and it's mainly on the defensive end. I feel like all of the time that he was on the court, the defense became a lot weaker on this game. I'm not talking about the entirety of his NBA career or his Chicago Bulls team this season. I thought he's been much improved defensively this season, but this game was not a good defensive game from Kobe White whatsoever. So many times he got lost on backdoor cuts. Every time Detroit made a play, it was to exploit Kobe White. I actually counted at the first half how many times Detroit Pistons players got past Chicago Bulls players for layups. I saw DeMar DeRozan had 1 or 2 times, Zach LaVine a couple of times as well, Vucevic once with the Kelly Olynyk mid-range, but Kobe White was the one that every single time he was on the floor, he either fouled the opponent or they drove right past him for a dunk or a layup. These are the things that Kobe White was very, very poor with in today's game. That has to change in the next game. We can't have more defensive liabilities on this team than what we already have. If someone is really getting stuck defensively and they're really showing their weakness on the defensive end, he shouldn't be playing 28 minutes in my opinion. We have to go with a little bit more safety on the defensive end, and that's something I really need to see going forward. As much as I love what Kobe White can produce on the offensive end at times, even today it's not his best offensive game, but we know he can produce those stats when we give him the right opportunities to do so, and of course depending if he's hot or not. We know the stats will be there for Kobe White, but defensively by far probably the worst player on the court today. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but that's simply what I saw on the court today, and I have to tell the truth when I talk about these individual performances. Derrick Jones Jr., 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. Again, it was a decent night for Derrick Jones Jr. All 3 of his buckets came in the paint. It was some good pick and rolls, stuff of that nature. It's a good night for Derrick Jones Jr. I like to see him score between the 6 to 10 point range, because I know he's not going to be the guy that gets the most shots on the team, but he's going to be the guy that could be the most diversified. He could score the corner 3. He's very athletic. He can get to the basket at will at times. He can outrun the opposition that he's guarding. Again, one of his shots was a dunk because Kelly Olynyk was turned around and he couldn't keep up with Derrick Jones Jr. Very, very easy opportunity there. Something that I have to praise with Kobe White as well. His playmaking, in my opinion, was decent today with those 3 assists. And one of them was to Derrick Jones Jr. He was the one that found him. So good from Derrick Jones Jr. Tristan Thompson, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. 1 from 4 is not great from Tristan Thompson, but I thought rebounding-wise, it was a little bit better in today's game. I thought 5 points is fine. 3 from 4 from the free throw line. That's the big thing with Tristan Thompson. If he makes free throws, we are a much better team going forward. That is what I would like to see going forward with Tristan Thompson. But overall, not a bad game from him whatsoever. Troy Brown Jr. only got 1 assist, played 9 minutes. I think that has to improve. But at the end of the day, he only took 1 shot. I felt like like he was more of a passenger in this game compared to other guys. But yeah, as I said before, Kobe White is my must improve. I don't feel like I need to go too much more into that. We'll quickly move on to the player of the game, which is DeMar DeRozan, ladies and gentlemen, with the 36 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. At the end of the day, I feel like we should have shared the love a little bit, give Zach LaVine more shots, give Vucevic more shots. I still think that's a big issue with the Chicago Bulls. Even when DeMar DeRozan is not really that efficient in games, we still end up going to him as our first option. I feel like, again, you look at guys like Chris Middleton recently had 44 points. He's the second option on the Milwaukee Bucks. Klay Thompson has had 50-point performances and often has 30-point performances back in his day, and he is the second option behind Stephen Curry. Sometimes it's okay to let Zach LaVine be the guy to take over some of these games, and same with Vucevic, because we have the offensive capabilities to do so. But we won the game, so I'm far from frustrated or not really going to complain about it too much. DeMar DeRozan was excellent in the fourth quarter. He's the king of the fourth for the reason, and that was a reason why today that we won the game. It was his play in the fourth that really helped his team towards the victory. We finally cracked 40 points on our season with a 40-26 record. I don't really know where we sit in the Eastern Conference now. I still believe we're currently exactly the same in the 4th seed of the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee has a game in hand on us, and I think Philadelphia will as well. So it's not going to be an easy time for the Chicago Bulls to recover from those poor losses that we've had, and challenges will keep on getting harder, with our next game being the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is going to be at home. They're not going to have Jared Allen, but they recently signed Moses Brown. I know many of you guys are high on Moses Brown and that you really enjoy what he could bring to the table for Cleveland. I think if he does sign season long for the rest of the season with Cleveland, he's not going to be able to play in the playoffs. That's a big bonus if Jared Allen, for whatever reason, isn't ready for the playoffs, but I think he will be. But in terms of this game, I still think Jared Allen is a big miss for Cleveland, and that will benefit the Chicago Bulls going forward. So we have to capitalize on their biggest defender not being there for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is where we can exploit them now. But at the end of the day, that's an extremely tough game for the Chicago Bulls, and knowing our defensive capabilities, every single game going forward will be a tough game unless we bring that fourth quarter energy for every single quarter going forward. That's when we're going to start seeing really, really good Chicago Bulls basketball once again. But if we keep on seeing those other quarters where we're weaker defensively, we're not paying attention, we're giving up easy baskets, this game will be tough, just like every other game going forward will be tough. So it's up to the Chicago Bulls now, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen the blueprint, we've seen what works, we've seen what happens when we can play defense. Now it's up to the Bulls to see if they want to play defense going forward. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video, ladies and gentlemen. I've lost my voice a little bit. I'm going to get some sleep after this, well needed sleep, and I'm going to sleep like a baby. Have a wonderful Zach day. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned. One more. Take care.